What's up, everybody? And thank you for joining in another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a disappointing 7-2 loss to the Angels in the final game of this midweek 3-game set. Felt like this was a game the Rangers absolutely could have and probably should have had, but a number of things just did not go the Rangers' way tonight, and we're going to get into everything, get through all of the box score, get through the scoring opportunities, the scoring moments in the game, go through some of the key points, the key spots, talk about individual performances, all that good stuff here in just a little bit. Of course, before we get started, y'all know who have been with me for a little while. But here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Again, thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. A lot of Rangers content out there, a lot of Rangers accounts out there. Thank you for choosing us. Feel free to drop a comment, a question. You need to get something off your chest. This is the place to do it. I'll be checking the chat periodically as we go through this post-game analysis. So let's get right into it. So tonight, Mike Lorenzen pitching against the Angels. Mike Lorenzen actually had a really, really good start against the Angels in Arlington earlier this year. So for me, I was surprised that he struggled so much today. Earlier in the year, I believe it was in May. In May, I think it was like mid-May or so, the Angels came to Arlington. It wasn't the best series. Lorenzen went 6 1/3, gave up 2 earned runs. Actually had, looks like I wrote down some of the stats from that game, 6 strikeouts, which for Mike Lorenzen, 6 strikeouts is pretty impressive. He's a pretty much a pitch to contact type guy. Does like to walk guys, and that was on full display tonight. Too many free passes for Mike Lorenzen, but really felt confident that he was going to have a good outing today, considering what he had done against this Angels lineup in May in the past this season. So Mike Lorenzen, off night tonight for him. Look, can't crush Lorenzen. Just can't do it. Lorenzen has been overperforming since he signed with the Rangers. He has been above expectations. So no Mike Lorenzen slander tonight, please. Mike Lorenzen has, a 3.50 ERA, even with the rough outing tonight. 3.52 ERA, even with the rough outing. Yeah, I'm not going to get on Mike Lorenzen. He was supposed to be a 4th or 5th starter, and he's going ahead and pitching a 3.50 ERA on the season. I mean, that is well above what you would have expected out of Mike Lorenzen, what you'd expect out of a 4th or 5th starter. I'm going to give Mike Lorenzen some grace tonight. He's been great all season long, and the Rangers didn't score any runs tonight. I mean, they scored 2, but we've talked about this so much over the past week on the show. The Rangers have to get to that magic number of 4. They have to get to 4 runs. If they don't get to 4 runs, they're not going to be winning a lot of ball games. The pitching staff has to be totally and absolutely 100% on point in order for the Rangers to win when they don't score 4 runs. And that didn't happen tonight. Mike Lorenzen doesn't have his A stuff. You know, Max Scherzer yesterday really didn't have the A stuff either, but the offense came to play. The offense scored 5 runs, and they were able to overcome a little bit of a rough start from Max Scherzer. Tonight, the Rangers only scored 2 runs, and they're not able to overcome a rough start from Mike Lorenzen. And Mike Lorenzen, again, not going to harp on him too much tonight. It's not the time, not the moment. Mike has been a great pitcher for us, considering that we signed him in the midst of spring training and really didn't expect much more out of him beyond maybe 4th or 5th starter potential. So no hate for Mike Lorenzen tonight. It happens. Guys have bad starts. It was probably Mike Lorenzen's worst start of the year. It's unfortunate that it had to come right now in the midst of this winning streak. I'm sure he feels terrible, but it is what it is. He goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 walks, plus a hit by pitch. So 10 base runners in 5 innings. Gave up a home run tonight as well to the 9-hole hitter. That was ugly, particularly Moniak, the 9-hole hitter, taking Lorenzen deep after kind of a questionable play by Travis Jankowski out in right field. This has been back-to-back nights now. The Rangers have had some questionable right field play. They missed Doli out there. I was surprised. Doli again DHing. Don't know if they're just trying to give him a little bit of time off in the field or what. If you guys heard something different or heard something more specific from Bochy or the coaching staff or one of the Rangers beat writers or reporters, let me know in the comments. But they're missing Adolis Garcia in that Gold Glove out there. It's been a little shaky out in right field. And unfortunately, what was that in the bottom of the second inning, right? You had the bad play by Travis Jankowski kind of bumbling around with the ball out there. And the Angels pushed the runner home to score. Nate Lowe, I don't think he would have had a chance to get the runner at home on the relay, but wasn't really even expecting it. Very next batter goes ahead and deposits it. We're talking about Moniak and the home run he had. I think it was a 3-run bomb that made it a 4-run inning for the Angels. Just wasn't Lorenzen's night tonight. Walks have always been a little bit of a problem for Mike Lorenzen. This year, it's pretty typical that he walks 2, 3, 4 guys in a start. He's just kind of been able to work around it a little bit. So I think that Mike Lorenzen's been playing with fire, and it finally kind of came back to bite him tonight. That's my assessment. Last start, I think he walked a number of guys and just was able to work around it. Still ultimately had, I think, 5 shutout innings, worked around the free passes. You can only do that so much, and the Angels burned Mike Lorenzen tonight for the free passes that he allowed, 5 of them in total, 4 walks and a hit by pitch. Let me get to the comments real quick. Gio, what's up? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Rangers have to win the series in Houston or the season will feel over. I got to see what the rest of the division looks like tonight. I'm going to come back to this comment. Gio, I don't know if I want to say win the series or it feels over. We've always kind of said 8-4 had to be the goal for this last 2 weeks before the All-Star break. Right now, the Rangers need to win 2 games out of 3 in Houston in order to make that happen. Otherwise, it's 7-5. That's not terrible, but for where the Rangers are at, it is that do or die time. You do need to start winning series and winning games at a 60-65% clip in order to dig out of the hole that the Rangers built for themselves at the beginning of the season. So I need to look at the full picture before I really evaluate the Astros series, and I'm going to get to it if you'll hang with me for a little while. Want to check on the standings, want to check on Houston, Mariners, wild card stuff before I make a final call on that. Let me see. Landon, what's up, bud? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Let me see. Pitching tips. Oh, my goodness. I think that would be a whole nother live on pitching tips. I will say this, doing a little bit of pitching myself in the past. I was primarily an outfielder, so I got to be honest, I'm not the best person. But what I will say is don't overthrow. don't overthrow. Don't overdo it, right? I think a lot of guys, when they're young, whether it's junior high, high school, the pitching lessons, the travel ball, all the high school competitive stuff, I think a lot of guys throw way too much, and then it causes them problems later on. So I'm not going to be able to give you a ton of sound technical advice in the middle of a live, but I will say this. Make sure you're taking care of your arm. Don't overdo it, especially if you're still in high school, middle school, even in college. Got to take care of that arm. Make sure that you are keeping track of the amount that you're throwing and not overdoing it. That would be my best advice for pitching at this point. Let me see here. Adolis Garcia is dealing with a jam finger. Thank you so much, Gio. Appreciate that. Makes sense. Hopefully he'll be back maybe after All-Star break. I would imagine maybe we'll see him DHing a little bit in Houston still, maybe not. Don't know if there was a prognosis, like how long he's going to need to be out of playing in the outfield, but the Rangers could use that Gold Glove. Right field, like I said, the defense has been a little shaky of late. Natalie, what's up? Thanks for the comment. Wyatt was trying way too hard, and it looked like his discipline slipped. Yeah, I'm not concerned about him either. he did just miss a grand slam. So when the Angels, sorry, getting ahead of myself, when the Angels brought in Hans Kraus, the first pitch that he gave to Wyatt Langford, I thought maybe that's foul pole, grand slam, and that thing just hooked, but he gave that pitch a ride. Wyatt Langford versus former Ranger Hans Kraus. I think that was fourth, fifth inning, something like that. Wyatt Langford did just miss a grand slam tonight. That would have changed the entire complexion of the game. So, look, not worried about Langford either. We got to be careful not to play the knee-jerk reaction when Wyatt goes 0 for 4 or when another Ranger goes 0 for. Don't knee-jerk. Wyatt Langford has been producing at a very, very nice clip over the past month plus. Had an off night tonight. I'm going to go ahead and go glass half full. I think it's probably something that's not going to stick around. Hopefully he can get an off day tomorrow, clear the mind, go to Houston, ready to unload on the Astros. Same thing for Doli. Doli had a rough night tonight with the bases loaded. One of my headlines for the live today, Doli Giveth last night, solo shot in the 8th, clutch home run to win the game, and Doli taketh away. All right, tonight, bases loaded, multiple opportunities for Adolis and for Wyatt Langford. Neither one was able to get it done. A lot of runners left on base tonight. 9 runners left on base. Rangers were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Doli personally, 4 base runners left in scoring position with 2 outs. So I think it was back-to-back at bats, right? Doli came up with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Strands, bases loaded both times. Doli give it, Doli take it away. It's how it goes in baseball sometimes. Eric, what's up, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. So the Rangers lose tonight 7-2, snap the winning streak. They were up to a 5-game winning streak, going for 6. So great winning streak, but the Rangers finally drop a game tonight. They lose 7-2 in LA, off day tomorrow, and then headed to Houston for a big series with the Astros. Big series with the Astros. For those of y'all that don't know, Eric's a Mariners fan. We still love him anyways, but he faithfully still tunes in every now and then, which I appreciate. It's good to have a variety of opinions on the show. I love it. So, Eric, we're going to do our best to beat the Astros for you. I know the Mariners definitely will appreciate it. They need a little bit of distance. Right now, that first place lead is shrinking with the Stros surging. It sure would be nice, mutually beneficial for both Mariners fans and Rangers fans if the Rangers can beat up on the Stros down in Houston. 100%. 100%. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. We talked about Lorenzen. Let's go ahead and stay pitching because I want to talk about something that you guys know has been a pet peeve of mine in the past, and that is the Rangers. It was a 5-2 game. Bochy, Maddox, all the people making the decisions on who's coming into the game. I just did not love the sequence of relievers tonight. Look, Robert came in, major league debut, Daniel Robert, and pitched a great first inning. And you know what they ended up doing, which I've said over and over again, I wish they wouldn't do, especially for guys that are not proven vets, don't have proven track records of success. So like tonight with Robert, he makes the major league debut, first inning, scoreless, pull him. The major league debut is pristine. 1 scoreless inning. Let the man have his confidence. Let the man have his confidence, right? But instead, you bring him out for another inning, and he gives up the home run, gives up the 2-run bomb to Neto, and now the game's out of reach. Just a really curious decision. Jonathan Hernandez comes in. Look, Jonathan Hernandez hadn't pitched since the Rays series. I just don't get in a 3-run game. I understand Latz. Latz has been a little shaky, but he's been solid, and Latz had a good outing tonight. I think that going with Robert was a little bit of a gamble when you had other guys that were rested, possibly able to maybe better keep the game close. I just thought it was a terrible decision to have Robert go out for another inning after throwing a scoreless inning in his major league debut. Now, look, who knows what the plan was? Maybe it was, let's just see how this guy does, and we'll make adjustments from there. For me, I would like to see Bochy and Maddox understand, hey, this guy, the confidence isn't all the way there yet. The experience isn't all the way there yet. Let's go ahead and call it a win. We got a scoreless inning out of this guy making his major league debut. Let's let him have that night. Let's let him have his night. And let's bring in somebody else with an off day coming up tomorrow. Really wish that they would have allowed Robert to exit after that scoreless inning. Bring in Hernandez. He hadn't pitched since the Rays series. I think he was on 3 or 4 days rest. He only has to get one out tonight. I would have much rather Jonathan Hernandez come in to pitch that 8th inning after you got the scoreless 7th from Robert. Just me. I think the Rangers have got to figure out, as a coaching staff, as a bullpen, who can we trust to keep the game close? Who can we trust to keep the game close? Because right now, the Rangers, when they're down 2-3, they're having trouble, in my opinion. And this hasn't come up in a little while. This hasn't come up, this scenario, in probably a couple of weeks with the Rangers and just how well they've been playing. But at the same time, I really feel like they've got to figure out who are the guys that can just keep the game within reach. How can we strategize with the bullpen to make that most likely to happen? And I just thought today, going with Robert for an extra inning, probably not the best of decisions. I would not have done it. Would have gone Hernandez right away. Urena pitched on Monday, I believe. He could have maybe gone an inning tonight. With an off day tomorrow, I just feel like there were so many options. You really just didn't need to drag out Robert's major league debut after the scoreless 7th. All right. I think that's probably it for pitching. I think we can go ahead and move on to the box score here. Let me go to comments real quick before we move on to the offensive side of the game. This comment says, for anybody listening on Spotify or Apple or any other podcasting app, this says, Wyatt hasn't been striking out a lot lately. 3 in 1 game is a little high. I agree. It's not really been Wyatt's MO to strike out multiple times. His MO is put the ball in play, use the wheels. So don't know what it was tonight. Maybe just not seeing the ball well out of some of the relievers' hands. Canning obviously had his number a little bit tonight. So who knows? It could have been anything. You know what? Sometimes there's just off nights. It's just really unfortunate. Bases loaded multiple times for Langford, for Garcia, and they're not able to come through, right? Bases loaded with 1 out for Langford multiple times. You got to get a run there, right? Even if Wyatt just hits a ball on the ground, the chances of him getting doubled up are not very good. Even a ground ball somewhere probably scores at least 1 run. Wyatt's got to do a better job in those spots of just keeping it simple, right? Natalie, you kind of talked about just the approach, keeping it simple, not overthinking things, not needing to get the big grand slam. Look, if it comes, great, but you still have to allow the game to just give you what it is giving you, if that makes sense. You don't need to go over the top in some of these big spots where you got runners on. You just have to take it as the game is given it. And I think in that moment, especially with the second opportunity, so Wyatt Langford strikes out on 3 pitches with his first bases loaded opportunity. The second opportunity, you would think he'd come up and just say, let me simplify here. Let me just get a ball in play so we can get some runs on the board. I think that would have been huge. Rangers scored 2 in the 5th inning. Could have been a lot more. Then in the 7th inning, bases loaded again. You just need runs. You've just got to keep clawing away at that lead. Would have liked to have seen a little bit of a better approach there from Wyatt in that second opportunity with the bases loaded. But off days are going to happen. They're going to happen. Let me see here. Here's another comment. Julio Rodriguez struggling as well. 4 Ks, 0 for 4, golden sombrero. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it is so tough with how the game is going. You know, you've got a lot of guys that are locked in on the home run ball. Julio Rodriguez, kind of similar in some ways to Adolis Garcia. Just like a lot of attitude, flavor, personality, just great for the game. I actually love watching Julio Rodriguez play. Think he is a great player. I know he's struggling a little bit this year, but Julio is like Doli, a lot of fun to watch play. So I think with some of these guys, you get used to hitting the big home runs, right? The long ball, and then you sometimes get it in your head that that's what you have to do every time up there in big moments, and you just don't. So same thing with Wyatt Langford that I just said. Sometimes you got to simplify the game a little bit and just put the ball in play. Just put it in play, especially for a guy like Julio who's got some wheels, right? Adolis Garcia, not necessarily as fast as Julio. Wyatt Langford, though, especially, you just got to put the ball in play in some of these moments, and good things are going to happen. I put 3 strikeouts, a 4 strikeout game, and when you're hitting in such a valuable spot in the lineup, it's just tough. It's just tough. All right, let's keep going here. Semien 2 for 4 with a walk. He's on base 3 times today. Simi had a great game and really a great series. Ever since he got that off day, he has really been playing pretty well. I really feel like when you get this kind of game from Semien, it feels like good things usually follow, and it just didn't happen today. Rangers couldn't get that big hit with the bases loaded. It is what it is. Seager goes 1 for 5. Smith goes 0 for 1 with 2 walks. So Smith on base a couple of times tonight. Langford goes 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. Probably one of his worst nights as a big leaguer. But look, it's within the midst of a lot of good games. So let's chalk it up to a bad night for Wyatt. I'm sure he'll be back this weekend, ready to get back on track against the Stros. Doli goes 1 for 4 with 2 Ks. And Nate Lowe goes 0 for 3 with the walk. Jonah Heim had a nice game today. Multiple line drives to the outfield, 2 for 4. Look, the bottom of the order, 7, 8, 9, gave the Rangers 4 hits. 4 for 12 from the bottom of the order. Usually when you're getting 4 for 12 from the bottom of the order, you're winning games. So the big thing tonight for the Rangers, just to put a bow on the whole performance, was not coming through with runners in scoring position, bases loaded, not coming through with 2 outs. And those 2 things just happened to coincide. Rangers had bases loaded with 2 outs. Just didn't have that clutch factor tonight. And it was the difference in the ball game. You leave 9 runners on base, you go 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. It's just not going to go well for you. So let's chalk it up to an off night, especially from Wyatt Langford. And let's move on to the Houston series. Let's move on to that Houston series, and let's start breaking it down. We will go through as many of the pitching matchups as we can. I know right now what's locked in is Andrew Heaney on Friday night. Heen Dog's been pitching great. And then we've got Evo going on Saturday. I feel pretty good with that Friday-Saturday 1-2 punch. John Gray tentatively, I think, for Sunday, but they have not formally announced a starter yet for Sunday in that Houston series, which is going to round out the first half of the season before the All-Star break. Big series coming up in Houston. Let's go ahead and let's do this first. Before we preview the matchup, Heaney going against the Stros Friday night, let's take a look at the scores around the AL West. And then after that, we'll look at the standings. Then we'll break down the matchup for Friday night with the Astros. So let's go ahead and check comments while we transition here. Josh Smith got hit by a pitch again. Look, I didn't watch the entire game. I had to follow it on my app for a few innings there. Watched most of the first 4, 5, 6 innings. Watched Wyatt Langford and Doli not come through in the 5th there with the bases loaded. Then had to turn it off, do a few other things, but kept track of it on my phone and with the radio guys. But Josh Smith getting hit by the pitch again. He's got to be up there league leader in hit by pitches. I mean, I'm going to try and look it up on the fly here. Y'all know how that goes. Sometimes it goes faster than others. Let me go hit by pitch leaders, MLB 2024. Let's see what pops up. So he is currently 2nd. He might have taken the lead. I don't know if these are updated stats, but Josh Smith actually tied for the league lead with 13 hit by pitches. It might have been number 14 tonight. I don't know if these stats are updated. So either way, he is first in Major League Baseball in getting hit by a pitch. Josh Smith is. So, my goodness, just something about him. Maybe just the way he looks. Other pitchers don't like him. I don't know. 13 hit by pitches, leading the league. 14th tonight. Is that right? 14th tonight. So, league leader in getting hit by pitches. It's just something about Josh Smith. My goodness. That's too much. That's too much. So, hit by a pitch. So, he was on base 3 times tonight, huh? 3 times tonight. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. Josh Smith is doing great in that 3 spot. He is doing absolutely fantastic. I think it's a great spot for him. Glad that they made the move. Interested to see what they're going to do when Josh Young comes back, where they're going to fit him in the lineup. I'd imagine Josh Smith is going to continue to hit third. He seems to be more than up for the task of protecting Corey Seager. He's doing a great job. So I am all for Josh Smith continuing to hit third, whether it's a lefty or a righty. Lefty or a righty. So let me keep going here. More comments here. Yes, sir. Texas Longhorns, Eric. Huge Mizzou fan. I'm really excited about the Longhorns coming. Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun. Longhorns in the SEC. I'm actually really pumped about the football season. You guys will see me slightly transition into football mode as it gets closer. We'll still do all of our Right on Rangers stuff, but we start mixing in some shorts, some reels. We do a little bit of Longhorns, Cowboys post-game. We'll probably try and mix that in throughout the season a little bit. So y'all will probably see a little bit of a shift, but it's still going to be a ton of Rangers content in the offseason as much as we can. You guys know how it is. There's always a little bit of a lull in every offseason where nothing's going on, but we're still going to do a lot of Rangers stuff. But we'll mix in some of the other teams we love from the great state of Texas, the Longhorns, Mavericks, Cowboys, which I know is a polarizing thing for some of y'all. Not every Rangers fan is a Cowboys fan or a Mavericks fan or a Longhorns fan, but hope y'all still will hang with me here and there. But I am very excited about the Longhorns going to the SEC and getting to play some of those teams that they once played in the Big 12. Mizzou obviously was a Big 12 team. A&M, a Big 12 team. Of course, Oklahoma is coming with Texas into the SEC, so it'll be fun to still have some of those Big 12 matchups from old. I really, really am going to enjoy that this year, so appreciate that. That'll be fun. We can talk a little Longhorns, Mizzou football. I think I told some of y'all, too, on the live maybe a few weeks ago when I got back from St. Louis when I was there for work. I think I told y'all I went to a Cardinals game, saw Paul Skeens pitch. It was great. But I grew up for probably the first 10 years of my life in St. Louis, saw a lot of Cardinals games, cheered for Mizzou here and there too. I can't say my family was like the biggest Mizzou fans, but we definitely enjoyed seeing them do well. So look, Missouri kind of has a little special place in my heart growing up there, but that's going to be a fun matchup. Let's get back to Rangers though. So Jonah Heim, I did see that play. Watching him throw out somebody, it's great. We talked about Jonah Heim, 15% against stolen bases or against base runners, we should say, this year. Heim only throwing out 15% of base runners trying to steal. That number maybe took a little bit of a positive, I would think. So maybe he's up around 17, 18% now. Kisner, I think, was down at 10% last time we checked. It hasn't been a great season for Rangers catchers throwing out would-be base stealers, but good to see Heim doing it tonight. And it wasn't particularly close. They had him by probably a couple of steps for sure. So agreed. It was good to see Jonah Heim doing that. Now let's look around the AL West. So tonight, Mariners did beat the Padres 2-0. That was a close game, but Mariners able to get the win. They've won, I think, their last 2 games after going on a little bit of a skid there, but the Mariners are righting the ship in San Diego. So great series for them against the Padres. They are 51-43 on the season now. Next, we have, looks like the Astros beating the Marlins 9-1. Astros, not even a doubt there. Unfortunately, they beat up on the Marlins a little bit coming into this Rangers series, and I wish that they could be going into that series with a little less confidence, but the Astros are playing well right now. They are 48-44 on the season, firmly in second place. Obviously, we know Rangers dropped the game today 7-2, And the A's are able to beat the Red Sox today in Boston 5-2. So everybody gets a win except for the Rangers, unfortunately, today in the AL West. Now, let's check out the standings. So the Mariners are now 6.5 games up on the Rangers, 2 games up on the Astros. So the Rangers cannot overtake the Astros for second place with the results. Even if they would have won today, the Astros, even getting swept, would still be maintaining a half-game lead. If the Rangers are able to sweep the Astros this weekend, they would still be a game and a half behind them. So, look, the Astros firmly in second place at this point. The Astros, like the Rangers, have won 7 of their last 10. The Astros do play tomorrow. They do play tomorrow against Miami. So no off day tomorrow for the Stros. The Mariners are going to actually be heading to Anaheim. So they were in San Diego tonight. Mariners going to get on a real quick flight, or maybe they're driving up. San Diego isn't a far drive to LA. Who knows what they're doing? Probably getting on a flight, but they're going to go play the Angels. Little 4-game set in Anaheim from what it looks like. So Rangers will be the only team in the West with an off day tomorrow. The A's will go, looks like, and finish out that series with Boston. So we'll see what happens. But Mariners starting a 4-game set with the Angels. Houston will finish up their Miami series tomorrow. And the A's will finish up the Boston series. So let's get back to a comment that Gio made earlier in the live today. And that comment was essentially not going to feel very good about the Rangers' chances if they don't take 2 out of 3 in Houston. So I agree and I disagree. I'm really on the fence. I really don't want to make this Houston series like, if they don't win this series, the season's over. I feel like some Rangers fans are probably going to go there. I don't want to go there myself. I don't want it to be, hey, the Rangers lose the Astros series. They drop 2 out of 3. It's over. Now, look, if the Rangers get swept, I think that's worst case scenario. If the Rangers get swept, and let's say the Mariners win 3 out of 4 in Anaheim this weekend, I am going to not be feeling very good about the chances. If the Rangers can maybe win 1 out of these next 3 games and get some fortuitous scores from other people in the AL West, maybe the Angels beat up on the Mariners a little bit. Eric, I know you're not a fan of that idea, but if that were to happen, okay, maybe I feel differently. So I've got to see what happens this weekend with the Mariners and Angels. I've got to see what happens with some of the other wild card teams above the Rangers. If the Rangers get swept, though, and the Angels are not able to beat up on the Mariners, it is going to be very, very tough for the Rangers. 2 out of 3 losing, I think you can deal with. Ideally, the Rangers win this series. 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3. It's a ballpark they feel very comfortable in. You didn't want to go down to Houston on a losing note, but that being said, this is a weird Rangers team. Can we just admit that? This is a weird Rangers team, and it always has been. They seem like they are just totally out of it. They're coming off a super disappointing loss, and then they go off and reel off 3 or 4 straight wins, right? I mean, think about the end of last year when they went to Seattle and lost 3 out of 4 to the Mariners at the end of the season. Nobody thought they were going to go down to Tampa Bay and win 2 games convincingly, but it happened. So I'm not sitting here thinking that the Rangers are going to go down to Houston and get their butts kicked. I think they're actually going to be probably pretty competitive. It would really shock me if the Rangers go down to Houston and just totally get outclassed. Now, will they maybe lose a close game here or there? Maybe the bats get shut down one game. Sure. But I think Houston's a place where they feel very comfortable. They won 4 games in Houston in the ALCS, right? The Stros didn't win a home game in the championship series last year. Clearly, the Rangers can win down at the big juice box in Houston. So I'm expecting at minimum 1 win. I think the Rangers can win this series. I think the pitching matchups are fortuitous. You've got John Gray on Sunday, and you've got Heaney and Evo starting off the series Friday, Saturday. I think they've got some fortuitous pitching matchups. So we'll see what happens. The Rangers love hitting at Minute Maid. Semien, Seager, Doli. If you go look at their splits at Minute Maid career, they're very good numbers. Very good numbers. I believe Simi is over 300. I think Corey Seager is over 300 at Minute Maid. There's a lot of guys that are very, very comfortable hitting at Minute Maid. Of course, Adolis Garcia, I think he feels right at home in Houston. In fact, John, I believe those of y'all that have been watching, y'all remember John's comment probably. I think, and I agree with them, I think that might be what really gets Doli going. He hears the Boo Birds down in Houston. Maybe the Astros fans learn their lesson. Maybe they learn their lesson. Go ahead and keep booing Doli. Just go ahead and keep doing it. How did that work for you last time, right? How did that work for you? Booing Doli every at bat? It didn't go so well. So I really think Doli has a chance to catch fire in Houston. I am excited that he's going to be in the home run derby. I told y'all on the live a few nights ago, they needed to have somebody from the Rangers be in the home run derby. Marcus Semien's already in the All-Star game as a reserve. Didn't think it needed to be him. I wanted to see either Seager, Garcia, or Langford in the home run derby. I think any of those guys would have been a good fit. Corey Seager's already done the home run derby, so I wasn't surprised that he didn't step up and do it. I think Doli is probably the perfect Ranger to do it. You wish he was going a little bit more positively at this point. I mean, I know I do. I wish Doli was going a little bit better at this point before he goes to this home run derby. But look, I think the Houston series is going to be a good thing for him. I could be totally wrong on this prediction, but I do feel like Doli is going to go down to Houston and find something, find a spark. The Boo Birds maybe going to get to him and drive out that prodigious hitter that we know Doli can be and that we all watched last October and into November. So I'm putting that out there. As I always say, manifesting it right now. Think Doli's going to go down to Houston and get right. Or should we say, continue some of the positive things that he did in LA. The game-winning home run in the 8th inning I thought was huge. Absolutely. Thought that was huge. So I definitely think that it could be what gets him going. Maybe not. But at this point, that's what I'm betting on. Doli goes to Houston, feels right at home, has a nice series down there against the Astros. I don't think that Doli was struggling this much when Young got hurt last year. I think he was actually hitting pretty well. I don't think he had this bad of a slump, at least not this long of a slump. I don't think so. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and look for sure. But this slump is by far, I think, the worst of his career that he's been in. Let me check some of these comments on TikTok here, y'all. Sorry, I know I forget about you guys sometime. I can only get so many multiple streams going at one time. Rangers won AL 2010, 11, 23. Yes, sir, they did. Astros won 2005, 17, 19, 2022. So Astros have one ALCS championship on the Rangers in the past 20 years or so. We'll see. It's going to be a good battle. I think the Rangers are probably built for the long haul a little bit better than the Astros at this point. Astros are getting older, have sold a lot of farm pieces. The Astros, I think, and I'm not saying this as a hater because I know that it's going to come off that way. If a Houston fan sees this, I know they're going to take it this way. It's just reality. Houston is getting older and they've sold a lot of their farm system. I think Houston, I'm not saying that they're going to do the total rebuild like they did in the mid 2010s before they went on the epic run that they've been on, getting to the ALCS over and over again. But the window's closing for the Stros. It is. The farm system is depleted. Altuve getting older. You got Verlander getting older. You got a lot of guys. You got Alvarez. You got Tucker. But Tucker is going to be a free agent pretty soon. Look, I think the Stros have a very, very small window over the next couple of years. I don't think that they're built right now for the long haul. They've got some nice players. Yordan Alvarez is a freaking beast. Kyle Tucker, ditto. But they don't have a ton of guys in the farm that are top players. Now, could they go get free agents? Could they go get big names? For sure. I'm curious to see what they do. But right now, as it looks, Astros are getting older. I think the window's closing. I think the Rangers are much better built for the long haul at this point than the Astros are. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Well, all right, y'all. We're going to start winding things down here. We went through the standings. I think that I'm going to go ahead right now. Prediction for the Stros series. I'm going to say 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. I don't think we're getting the sweep. I think we're taking 2 out of 3. And I'm going to say we take first 2 games. And maybe Sunday is the game. John Gray been looking a little shaky of late. I think that Sunday game might be the game. But I think Andrew Heaney continues his great pitching. I think Evo gives us a great game. So I'm going to say 2 out of 3. We take Friday, Saturday. Sunday is that little bit of that questionable. But I said to y'all last night, I think game 1 in this series is going to tell you a lot. I think we go out and take game 1. Doesn't have to be convincing, but I think we go and take game 1 in Houston on Friday night. I feel pretty good about the rest of the series. We drop game 1. I'm not feeling so hot. I don't know. I know maybe that sounds super simple, elementary, but that's where I'm at right now. Let me go ahead and see game 1. I'm going to say 2 out of 3. We take Friday night and Saturday night. I think I'll be able to tell y'all a lot more, though, after I watch Friday night's game and just see how the Rangers are hitting, what the vibe looks like, what the body language looks like. I know you can't judge everything off those 2 things, but you know what I mean. A lot of us can kind of sense the feel of the team and how they're going. Of course, we got the stats to back it up, but I think you're going to see Friday night whether this team is ready to go and ready to rock and roll and get some wins down in Houston. I sure hope so. I hope they go down to Houston very motivated, very ready to show the Astros who the top team in the West is. Mariners obviously have that spot right now. A lot of baseball left to play. I'm not giving up on the Rangers yet, even if they drop 2 out of 3, even if they, God forbid, 3 out of 3 they lose. Let me go ahead and see what the rest of the West is doing. That would not be good. That would just not be good. But worst case scenario aside, I think the Rangers still have a great chance to make playoffs. It's getting down to the wire. You're going to have to start prolonging these winning streaks like they just did. But let's celebrate the 5-game winning streak. That's exactly what they needed to do. They can get another winning streak going. You know they can. Reinforcements are still coming back. You've got Malley coming back probably right after the All-Star break. You got to think Josh Young is coming back within a week or 2 of the All-Star break. DeGrom coming back in August. There's positive things on the horizon, y'all. So I'm keeping the glass half full perspective until mathematically it just doesn't make sense anymore. All right, let's take a look at headlines around MLB. We'll check comments one more time, and then we'll get out of here for the evening. And then a little off day tomorrow. We'll enjoy a little R&R, catch up on a few things around the house, catch up maybe on some other sporting events, maybe catch some other baseball teams. We don't get to watch a ton of other teams around the league. I'm a baseball fan in general. Obviously, the Rangers take the top spot, but still enjoy watching baseball, even if it's not my team. So we'll see. We'll catch up on a few things tomorrow, maybe watch a little ball in between. So Astros, interesting stat. They're on the front page here. So Valdez, 10 Ks tonight. Threw a gem against the Marlins. It's the Marlins, so let's take it with a grain of salt, right? I even said that when the Rangers played the Marlins, so I'm not saying that as a as a homer. Look, the Marlins wins, you got to take with a grain of salt. They're not a good team. But the Astros have won 8 straight home games. Isn't that interesting? The Rangers have won, 4 straight in Minute Maid Park? So it's going to be the battle of the winning streaks. Rangers have won at least 4 straight at Minute Maid, including the postseason last year. Astros have won 8 straight home games, so we'll see what happens in the battle of the streaks there. We've got a few other A few other headlines I think worth talking about here. Dodgers losing 3 in a row behind shaky defense, missed opportunities. Kind of sounds like the Rangers tonight. Missed chances, slightly shaky defense out in right field tonight. Know that story. Let me see what else happened here. Yankees finally got a win. They were sliding there for a while. Oh, my goodness. And then the Phillies, yep, like we just talked about, are able to beat the Dodgers 4-3. What else is going on? Not a whole lot here. Doli, the home run derby announcement, another big thing. So I'm glad to see he'll be in the All-Star game, at least participating as a derby participant. That'll be great. I'm sure the fans will enjoy it. I sure wish I could get down there for the All-Star game. I don't know how much tickets are going for. Just wasn't in the cards this summer, but man, that would have been a special thing to go to. But you know what? I'll take World Series Game 1 like I got last year. But Shota for the Cubs, pitching great tonight. The Cubs are able to beat, looks like who did they beat today? Cubs beat the loading. Yes. Sorry about that. The Cubs are able to beat, my goodness, technology, as they say, the Orioles. Wow. Orioles are kind of a little bit up and down right now. Corbin Burns was opposing there, so good win for them. But otherwise, y'all, I think that's about it. So I want to say thanks for hanging out. Rangers have lost 2 straight in Houston in the regular season, though, right? That's got to be regular season because it's 4 straight in Houston winning if you include the postseason. So going back to regular season, 2 straight in Houston, but if you include the postseason, 4 straight. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you. It's hard sometimes coming on here, hanging out after a loss. I mean, sometimes, especially, I think I said last night, when the Rangers get on a roll, they start getting your hopes up. You start taking these losses harder and harder, but we're here. Rain or shine, win or loss, hanging out, talking with y'all. And we appreciate all the comments, the questions. And if any of y'all are watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, not following the account, I would greatly appreciate if you hit that follow or subscribe button. If you know somebody that loves baseball, loves the Rangers, tell them about the channel, tell them about the account, share one of my videos with them, whether it's this live or one of my shorts or reels. I would be very, very grateful. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night and enjoy the off day tomorrow. It's always kind of weird when the Rangers aren't playing, but it's a nice time to catch up on a few things and get to watch some other teams around the league. But we'll be back Friday, post-game, hopefully after a Rangers win. Andrew Heaney going to be pitching for the Rangers in Houston. We didn't go through that matchup. I don't know who Houston is throwing. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. Friday night matchup. Again, Andrew Heaney on the bump, and it looks like the Astros have not announced the starter yet, so not a lot of previewing for us to do. Andrew Heaney against the Astros. There are some guys with some good numbers. Altuve, Alvarez, Bregman, all hitting over 300, and all have a home run off Heaney. The rest of the team, kind of a mixed bag. But Altuve, Alvarez, Bregman in the past have hit Heaney well. The Astros lineup is good. You're going to have to be careful with some of those guys, but Andrew Heaney been pitching very, very well of late. In fact, last 7 games, 2.95 ERA for Andrew Heaney, 46 strikeouts and 40 innings pitched. I think that I like our chances Friday, like our chances Saturday. I think Sunday might be the tough one. We'll see what happens. But thanks for hanging out tonight. We'll be back Friday, hopefully after a Rangers win. Come hang out with us again this weekend. Whether you catch us on a live, we'll be going a little bit earlier. Had to go late night with these West Coast start times, but we'll be back to Texas time. Probably going live right after those games are over. You know how it is, around 9:30-ish Texas time. So come hang out again or catch us on the replay at some point. Either way, hope y'all have a great rest of the week and a good weekend ahead. Hope to see you soon. As I always say to end every show, God bless. Go Rangers. Have a good one now.